Good morning, grade 3 and 4. How are you doing today? It is Monday, May 4th, 2020, 5-4-20. Our word of the week is the way, the truth, the life. This week, you're going to be starting to work on a selection from your hardcover reading book called Mother to Tigers. Please read that selection in the next few days and make sure you take the AR test on it. Yours is on AR. You also have your packet to begin and submit that to me at the end of the week. Your epic book to read and take an AR test on that as well. Nice job on your goals for last month for AR. And now this month we go just through midnight on May 20th. Okay, just so that you're aware of that. And I adjusted your goals a little bit because of that. Just so that we can have that done and I can put that grade in for your report cards. Oh my goodness, can you believe it? It's almost there. We'll be going through math together as well. Grade 3, you're on lesson 108, and it's a real quick but easy review for grade 4 as well. And then grade 4, we're going to go through your lesson for 114. So if you could make sure that you have a pencil and paper to work through your practice, that would be great. How is it going on your junior park ranger packet? Sounded with everybody that I had spoken to that things are going just fine. You have a Wisconsin history test today on the Constitution, and we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. And then you'll begin your new work. Where is that one? On that we're entering a new century. So now we're going to be talking about the 20th century into the 1900s. Okay. And you'll see many familiar faces, I think, in this selection as well. You have a crossword puzzle to do on the back, and I would like you to read Why Should I Keep a Writer's Journal? Might be something that you'd be interested in doing. It's not an assignment that I'm going to give you, but you'll understand why it could be very helpful to you in your education process, okay? Alrighty, so the next thing that I'd like to do is to correct your Constitution paper, and I'm going to just turn to the other camera. Look at that. All right, so you should be able to see those hopefully as well. Number 2 across, something mightier than a sword is pen, P-E-N, according to our selection here and many others. Number 4, in the feet of the eagle are the 13 arrows signifying. Number 4 is war, W-A-R. And number 5, in the feet of the eagle is a laurel or olive leaf signifying peace, P-E-A-C-E. Number 6, a body of laws that govern our state and nation, Constitution, C-O-N-S-T-I-T-U-T-I-O-N. In a trial, you are blank until proven guilty. And number 8 across is innocent, I-N-N-O-C-E-N-T. A set of rules governing how people live in a state or country, and that is a law, L-A-W, the law. All right, going down. Our freedom of blank means we can say anything as long as we don't hurt people, and that is the freedom of speech, S-P-E-E-C-H. Number 3, what branch of government makes up the laws and rules? Number 3 down is legislative. And maybe you can think of that laws begin with L, legislative. It begins with L as well, L-E-G-I-S-L-A-T-I-V-E. Number 4, in what city is the U.S. Constitution kept? Washington, D.C., W-A-S-H-I-N-G-T-O-N, D-C. The first level of government is the individual, you. I-N-D-I-V-I-D-U-A-L, or me. And number 9, what is the center of the Great Seal? And it is eagle, E-A-G-L-E. All right. And so now if you wanted to play the Constitution bingo, you certainly could, but it's important that you do know and understand these words. Unconstitutional. And we know that un means not, so it means it goes against the Constitution. Senate. The Senate and Congress are people that are voted by adults 18 or older who are able to vote, and they represent you in both your state government and your national government. Judicial. That is judges. They are the ones who interpret the law and say, this is how it needs to go, or that someone is guilty or innocent. Checks and balances. think of a scale, okay? And there are checks and balances in our nation and our state, so that one area, I'm going to go back to the inside here, so that one area of our government, okay, isn't stronger than another. There are checks and balances. The executive branch has to answer to the judicial and the legislative branch, and vice versa, okay? And then this was really a good little diagram to look at, okay? There are checks and balances so that none of these entities in and of themselves has too much power. And they each kind of have their own job. They do. The legislative branch makes the laws. The executive branch enforces the laws. The judicial branch interprets the laws, okay? So they all work together for the benefit of the individual and the state and the country. I do want to see what you listed here for your rights as an American citizen and your rights as a Wisconsin citizen. Now, you certainly can do it just from the information they give you here in your newspaper. You also can get it from other sources as well. Take a picture of that and send it to me if you would, please. All right. So back here, we've got taxes, and those are things that adults pay through their jobs, both to the state and the federal, for many different things. The executive branch in the state, that's the governor, is the head of that. In our nation, the president is the head of that. And then the legislative branch is the one that makes the law. The Bill of Rights is something that went along with our Constitution, guaranteeing certain rights of all people. And again, Congress and Senate, we talked about that. Responsibilities. Yes, we have rights, but we also have responsibilities as citizens, even young people. House of Representatives is the branch. Your representatives. Congress is your senators, your House of Representatives, and they are part of the group that helps to make the law, okay? Remember when we were reading about the legislative branch? Okay. Amendments, those are changes to our Constitution. A veto, to say no. The President of the United States has the right to veto laws that come across his desk. To interpret. Now remember, it said on the inside there that the judicial branch interprets the law. To interpret means to say this is what it means. Okay, you might have heard that word more often, that someone needs an interpreter. Like if they speak Spanish and only, and you speak English, you might need someone who speaks both Spanish and English to let the other know what they are saying. The judicial branch does that with the law. Freedom, to be free. An election, when we vote for something. Citizenship, that is being a citizen where we live. Document is a written paper. Governor is the head of our state government, and the Supreme Court is the head of the judicial branch. And they are both in, you have a state Supreme Court and then a national Supreme Court as well. All righty. All right. I'm going to keep it right here and bring the example of grade 3 math up. So everybody just, hopefully my camera won't have the hiccups too much. Just a review of finding area. So remember, when we're finding area, we count the full squares. And then one of the ways that we can do it is like these two together. They look like they could make a whole. These two together, like they could make about a whole, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It would also work if we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then only counted the ones that were more than half. Here's a more than half, here's a more than half. And so we come up with 8, just the same. Also making sure that you have your labels, 8 square centimeters. This one here, we have 1 full one colored in, and this would be 2 square inches, okay? So that is a review for 4th grade, and that is grade 3's math. So grade 3, you are dismissed. You can keep on going with your work and turn off the video. Grade 4, I need you to have a sheet of paper, and we are going to work through our math here today, okay? And today we're going to be talking about simplifying fractions, okay? And all the work that we've been doing up to this point of changing an improper fraction to a mixed fraction, or to be reducing fractions or finding equivalent fractions. Now we're going to put all of that work together, all right? So let's take a look at example 1. It says add 2/3 plus 2/3. So make my paper come right here. If I do 2/3 plus 2/3, what do I get? 4/3. Well, that is an improper fraction. And so you need to change that to be a proper fraction. You know what to do. You do 4 divided by 3, and that gives you 1, right? If we do 4 divided by 3, and how much will be left over? 1/3. Now, can you do that work? 4 divided by 3, 1, and 1 left over, 1 1/3. You sure can. If it helps you to make sure you've got the right answer, please feel free to do that. All right, example 2 says, what if we subtract 3/4, take away 1/4? Well, we end up with 2/4. However, we know from our lesson last week that we can reduce that. And so we want to put it in simplest terms. So we're going to multiply by 2/2 because we know 4 can be divided by 2. And our final answer is 1/2. And I am going to expect you to do this from now on with all problems. Have your answers be in the simplest form. All right, example 3. Nicholas exercises each day by walking. The route he walks each morning is 3 1/3 miles long, and the route he walks each evening is 4 2/3 miles long. Altogether, how many miles does Nicholas walk each day? So we again do 3 1/3 plus 4 2/3, and I prefer to do them this way. So here we have 3/3. And 3 plus 4 is 7. Now we've done this before. We know that 3/3 is 1. All right, so it'd be like 7 plus another 1. Our final answer is 8. And of course, we have to have our label of miles. How about example 4? 5 3/5 plus 6 4/5. 3 plus 4 is 7. So here we have 7/5, and you can see already that's a problem. 5 plus 6 is 11. So we are going to add the 7 1/5, but what does that equal? Well, you want to figure it out. 7 divided by 5. 5 goes into 7 one time. 7 minus 5 is 2, so I have 1 2/5. So we're going to add that. 11 plus 1 2/5 is 12 2/5, or you could write it down below as well if that's easier for you. Okay. Last example here on this page, a piece of fabric 1 3/8 yards in length was cut from a bolt of fabric that measured 6 5/8 yards long. How long is the piece of fabric left on the bolt? So here we have to subtract. We put our larger number on top, 6 5/8. We subtract 1 3/8. That gives us 2/8, and 6 take away 1 is 5. You might say, wait a minute, can't we be done? Nope, this fraction can be reduced. What do you do with 2/8? Well, you can divide it by 2/2, can't you? Because 8 can be divided evenly by 2. Now don't forget, you still have a 5 here. All right, so here to get this part is 1/4, but now you have to put that all together. 5 1/4 is our final answer. Okay, so look at all these different examples of how to simplify fractions, and that means to make it in its simplest terms. Okay, all right, let's do a few together. For A, we have 4/5 plus 4/5 equals 8/5. What are you going to do? You have an improper fraction. So we do 8 divided by 5. I know that 8 divided by 5 is 1, and 8 minus 5 is 3/5. How do I know that? That's how I know it. Right there, okay? Can you do this work on your page? Sure, absolutely. All right, let's do B. For B, we have 5/6, take away 1/6. That gives us 4/6. Now look, both of those are even. We can divide both the top and the bottom, the numerator and the denominator, by 2. And so we get 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now we are set. That is our answer. That is our answer. Let's try C together. 3 2/3 plus 1 2/3. We're going to have 4/3 here. 3 plus 1 is 4. So now we're going to change this improper fraction. What will that change to? 4 divided by 3 is 1 1/3 plus our 4, right? And so our total answer is 5 1/3. Well, I didn't make my 5 very big, did I? 5 1/3 is our final answer. Let's do D. 5 1/4 plus 6 3/4. Here we have 4/4. 5 plus 6 is 11. And so our total answer, and it's okay, if you want to write it here, you can. If you want to write it here, your final answer is 12. This means 1. 11 plus 1 is 12. We are almost done with practice. 7 7/8 minus 1 1/8. 7/8 minus 1/8 is 6/8. 7 minus 1 is 6. Now notice we can reduce this. They're both even. So we can divide 6/8 by 2 over 2. And that will give us 3/4. Now remember, we have to write the whole answer. Our whole answer, oops, I'm going to fix that. Made my 3 a little bit big. Our whole answer is 6 3/4. One last one. F. 5 3/5 plus 1 3/5. So here we have 6/5. 5 plus 1 is 6. I know I can change this improper fraction by doing 6 divided by 5 is 1 1/5. I'm going to add those two together right there. So 7 1/5 is my final answer. Okay, might be a good idea to circle your final answer so that I know for sure what you've got going on there. Okay, and notice if you have a whole number here, you need to have a whole number in your mixed number at the end as well. Okay, so be careful of that. All right, back to me. There we are. Okay, thank you so much. So hopefully that helped and made sense to you. And now remember, you always want to have the simplest form as your fraction answer. Okay, so be careful of that when you are doing your work today. If you have any questions, make sure you give me a call, and God's blessings on your test as well. Bye.